Here I'm sitting on a whole room full of cocaine, a whole room full of money. I fell asleep and I had a dream that I had died, and I could see myself in the coffin, and people were walking by, and I ended up in hell. It was like I wasn't burning, but I was dead, and I was gonna be there forever. I awoke at a knock at the door. I remember seeing this picture at my grandmother's house of Jesus knocking at the door. And it said, if any man open the door and let me in, I will abide with him. So I opened the door, and there was my ex-wife. She was a junkie. She'd come off a trip. I would fix her up and take care of her. And she was all new. She was totally different. She was shiny. She started to tell me about Jesus. Right then, she led me to the Lord. There was one limb left on the tree. So when I went to cut it, there was so much weight on it that it popped, and it drugged my saw. Once it cuts my strap, I just fall backwards 50 feet, straight down on my head. Oh boy. I hear what I thought was rain, like a shh. I mean, seconds it only took for all this to happen. And something told me, breathe out, relax. And it was like it was in slow motion. As I was falling, and then all of a sudden when I hit the ground, everything sped up. Both my knees hit me in the forehead, split my head open, broke all the ribs on one side. I fell on this shoulder and my head, my neck, like that. And the doctor was saying, if you would have had air in your lungs, they would have bursted. My bones would have went through my lungs. But I said, no. I said, right at the last second, I breathed out all my air.
Oh my gosh, that can't be a normal thing when you're falling. Well, I think I'll breathe all the way out now.
Yeah, exactly.
The most panicked situation you could ever think of, but here you are completely relaxed, and it saved your life.
Used to be an iron worker, and I was hanging still at night. Well, one of the beams I hit cut my foot off. And
we're brothers.
Yeah, we're brothers.
It was your left foot?
It was my left foot.
Makes sense. Yeah. We both play country gospel.
Yeah.
Well, actually, a few episodes we play a song. Would you want to do that?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to do that.
Welcome back. Today on the battlefield, we have Everett Nichols, and he's going to share with us his spiritual experiences.
Growing up, I was only 8 years old, and I was in church, and I could feel God pulling me to the altar. But I white-knuckled the bench in front of me. I was so scared. I knew that I had a calling. I didn't know what it was. I knew what was good and what was evil. And I tried to do good, but it was hard. And I found myself watching a drug house. I went from 200 pounds to 110, so I was severely addicted to cocaine. Here I'm sitting on a whole room full of cocaine, a whole room full of money. I fell asleep and I had a dream that I had died. And I could see myself in the coffin, and people were walking by, and I ended up in hell. It was like I wasn't burning, but I was dead, and I was gonna be there forever. I awoke at a knock at the door. I remember seeing this picture at my grandmother's house of Jesus knocking at the door. And it said, if any man open the door and let me in, I will abide with him. And so I went and I opened the door, and there was my ex-wife, who I hadn't seen. I'd left a year ago, and she was a junkie, because even though we weren't together, she could call me. She'd come off a trip or some bad junkie night. I would fix her up and take care of her and get her better again. And when I heard that knock, it woke me. And I seen myself in the coffin dead. When I awoke, I'm like, well, I got a chance. I let her in, and she was all new. She was totally different. She was shiny. She started to tell me about Jesus. And right then, she led me to the Lord. And I just knew that I had something to do for him because I was totally changed inside immediately.
Yeah.
I went and made a cross, and I started carrying that cross and singing.
And so it being her, since she was on drugs too, and you saw the change in her, it was like, so was it right then?
It was right then. I knew I had to accept Jesus as my Savior. I'd been putting him off my whole life.
Yeah.
And once I seen her and how happy she was, and the glimmer in her eyes, that everything she spoke was the truth, and you couldn't deny it. And when I accepted him, I felt brand new. I just automatically started thinking about others that I didn't want to see no one else go where I'd been, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I started carrying the cross, and after a little while, I got into the Word and I learned how to read and write. It talked about fasting, and I would start to fast, and I would intercede every night for hours and fast for days. He put in my heart about the drug dealer that we were ultimately working for, the one that was backing us with everything. He sent me to seek him out. And I went to his house. He had lost everything. And he was sitting there on the sofa crying. His wife had left him, took the kids. He'd lost all his money. He had gotten busted. And when he seen me, the same thing happened to him that happened to me, because he said, "You're different. What's going on?" I said, "I found the Lord, and he told me to come here to tell you about Jesus." And we fell on our knees, and we rode around for days just talking about the Lord and praying, singing, and that was a miracle right there, because he was an ex-Vietnam veteran. He was he killed a lot of people. He had a lot of burdens in his heart, but he got healed, and that was a blessing. After I built the cross, I had 3 little kids, so 9, 8, and 6. I helped them build little crosses to carry.
Yeah.
And so we'd go out, and they wanted to go with me because Daddy was doing it. So we would carry the crosses in town, and we would go down the street singing. And me and my daughter, one time, we were walking together and singing, and we stepped off the curb to cross the side street, and she looked up at me and she said, "Boy, Dad, I sure am thirsty. I wish I had a Coke." And I said, "Well, we'll get something to drink up the road here just a little bit." And before we got to the other side of that curb, a guy in a sports car pulled in behind us, and he said, "I seen you guys about 30 minutes ago." And he said, "I thought you might want a Coke." And we always look at each other when I see her and talk about that God is amazing. He cares about all the little things we need and want too. Yeah. That's what he was showing us.
Little things, they really do. She's saying I really would enjoy a Coke, and then a Coke shows up. Like, it's so small, but that little thing made God, instead of like, "Oh, I think he's real," goes to the next level where it's like a knowledge, like deep in your soul. It's like it will never go away, and there's never going to be a time now where she could ever fall away.
No.
Because that one tiny little thing just did it.
Yeah, it made it more real to her.
Yeah.
And she was only 8.
We get a whole education about how that could have just been some like the
random thing.
Universe. Yeah.
But Jesus showed up with a Coke,
Yeah.
But there's an encounter. I was praying, I was fasting for 3 days, and 3 angels walked in my room. I was on my knees, and I was just scared to look up because they didn't have any feet. They were just floating in, transparent, but there was a tall one and 2 shorter ones. And once I seen them, I could feel, the power of God all over me. I was so scared that I ran out of the room. I didn't know what to do. But I know it was God, and he was giving me a sign to keep telling people about Jesus, and keep on carrying the cross and singing. And that was the main thing that I got from that. Keep on going, no matter what.
So the angels came kind of as God saying, like, you're on track?
Yes. Another time, my father had passed away suddenly. He was very young, and me and him were really close, and I just couldn't get over it. I felt like I just couldn't go on. I wouldn't even get out of bed. And for 3 days, and in that night, I hadn't slept at all. And I thought I was dreaming or having a vision, but he floated in the room around the bed, and he put his hand on my shoulder and he pressed down. I could feel him. And he looked at me and he smiled, and his eyes were just glowing. And he was young, he was young looking. And he said, "Don't worry, I'm with Jesus." Because I was worried about him being saved. He never went to church, but he had accepted the Lord toward the end. And so I was worried about him going to hell. And that moment I knew he was okay, he was fine. And then he just disappeared. And I was able to carry on.
Amazing. I actually had it was yesterday. I was like bawling. She was my best friend. She she shot herself in the head right in front of her own dad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. And I've been praying, I need to know, man, because I had no chance. I knew Jesus wasn't the answer.
Right.
Neither did she. Didn't have a chance. I've been praying, let me know if you at least gave her a chance.
Yeah.
If she had a chance before we ever met, or when she died, like that's where my chance came. Yes or no. I had this guilt in me for a long time. Like, I just wish I would have shown her more love or said something that might have made her not do that. But I know that's crazy.
Did you get a sign?
No, I mean, this was just yesterday. So I'm praying he will show me just something like with your dad. Yeah.
Yes. We were going to a little church up the street, and the name of the church was the Lighthouse for Truth. And that's when we started going into the prisons and singing, and all the prisons in Florida around that area. We would just, every Saturday we would go, and the preacher would preach, I would sing, and then he would preach, and we'd just stay after, telling people about God and how he can change their life no matter where they are, giving your testimony. It means a lot. Used to be an iron worker, and I was hanging still at night, and I fell like 40 feet, and I landed over a beam. Well, one of the beams I hit cut my foot off. And
we're brothers.
Yeah, we're brothers.
Which foot was it? It was your left foot.
It was my left foot.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And so the doctors, they flew me to a medic center, and they looked at it, and the doctor passed out. My foot was on my shin bone. The bone was sticking out and was broke off.
Isn't that what a doctor's supposed to be looking at? He passed out? It was that bad?
He passed out. It was that bad. And it took 9 months and 3 surgeries to get back to where I had to learn how to start walking again, And God saved my life again. It was dark at night. I was hundreds of feet off the ground. I fell and landed on the next floor on a beam, over a beam.
Wow.
And I survived. And while I still had my foot in a cast, I got in a head-on collision. My head went through the windshield, shattered both my jaw joints. I was the first TMJ patient in Citrus County. Head-on collision at 50 miles an hour. We hit a 1-ton truck.
Oh my God.
And so we should have died. I didn't have a seatbelt on. Yeah, that was at 32 years old. I was working, doing tree work after that, and I had a palm tree. It's got the long spikes on it, and I cut one, and it slid down the pole saw, and the spur went into my arm, and I didn't know. I just pulled it out, and I was fine. But my arm started to swell, and so I went and got an MRI, and the doctor looked at it, and he said, "You've got a bone infection up to your elbow." So when they sent me to the emergency room in Shands. When I got there and they looked at it, the doctors wanted to cut my arm off. They said it was that bad. And I said, no, I'm just gonna keep my arm or die, trusting in the Lord. They put a PICC line in my arm, and they bombarded me with the strongest antibiotics in the world. I was in a hospital for 20 days. I had a fever of 105 for 5 days, and they put me in a tub of ice. I was delirious, seeing visions. My wife was literally sitting on my chest. I wanted to die. I was shaking so bad, and one minute I'd be freezing, the other minute I'd be burning up, and I just told her, I'm tired, I just want to go home. And this was about halfway, 10th day, and she crawled onto my chest, and she started slapping me and telling me, fight to live, fight. And so I started to fight, and 10 more days went by, being packed in ice. I came out of it. I lived, and once I got home, I said, we gotta go back to church. We hadn't been to church in a while, you know. We gotta find us a church. And we started going to another Cowboy church, and we went there for 5 years. The people I was going with, they just loved me and took me in. I had a foot of colon removed. I was at home recovering, and my blood pressure dropped. I flatlined. I died. And my grandson had passed away just a month before that, which he was born right here in this room. I had it right here. He was born here, and he lived with me. I raised him, and he got hit by a car and was killed. And so I was at home, and I flatlined in the chair. My eyes were open. I was gone. I could feel myself leaving my body. I was going home, you know. And he came out of the ceiling, and he came down to me, and I could feel him put his hand on my chest and push me back into my body and say, Papa, you got work to do. You can't go. You gotta stay. And I wanted to go with him, you know. I was ready to go to heaven. And I woke up with paramedics all around me, my wife talking to me, telling me to fight, to live. And I came back, you know, on fire. It was amazing, the visit from him, you know. It made me want to live even more. Another time, God saved my life. I was climbing trees for a living. It was on a Friday, right at noon, and I had just topped this big pine tree. I'm in my spurs. There was one limb left on the tree, and he's like, could you just cut that one limb off, let it drop? I said, sure. So when I went to cut it, it was so much weight on it that it just popped. It kind of exploded. And it dragged my saw down over my buck strap and cut my buck strap. So I'm in the tree with my spurs, and once it cuts my strap, I just fall backwards, and I slap the tree upside down, and my spurs come out. I'm falling straight down on my head.
Oh boy.
And I'm in the woods line, so I'm falling, and I hear what I thought was rain, like a shh, and it was these little trees below me. I mean, seconds it only took for all this to happen, but these little oakling, sapling trees were around the big pine, and I was hitting that, but it sounded to me like rain.
Yeah.
And something told me, breathe out, breathe out. And I breathed out all my air, and I felt the hand of God reach up and I feel and see his hand catching me. And then I hit the ground, both my knees hit me in the forehead, split my head open, broke all the ribs on one side. I fell on this shoulder in my head, my neck like that. It was like fast forward once I hit the ground, everything was speeded back up, but it was like in slow motion, everything before that. So they rushed me to the hospital, emergency, take me in, do all these x-rays of me. I'm like, I couldn't catch my breath. They had me on oxygen, I still couldn't hardly breathe. And they're like, he should have been dead. I fell 50 feet. So they left my head split open. They were just worried about my brain swelling.
Yeah.
But I knew God had touched me, and the doctor was talking to me, and he's saying, if you would have had air in your lungs, they would have bursted. My bones would have went through my lungs and everything and probably died. But I said, no, I said, right at the last second, I breathed out all my air.
Oh my gosh.
And so there was no air in my lungs. And when I hit the ground, I collapsed. It just knocked the wind out of me, but I didn't get any lung punctures or anything.
Wow.
And so I went home. I was there 11 hours, and then they finally sewed up my head, and it was on my eyebrows. I don't even go home. I go to my mom's because I want my mom to pray for me. My mom, she's always God, God, always. And so they told me to get in the ice. So I packed me in ice. I'm in the tub to reduce the swelling. And my mom prayed for me, and my dad's standing there. And my dad brings me a cup of coffee, and I take one sip from that coffee, and I had a grandpa seizure. I don't even remember what happened, but I flipped out of the tub, and I was convulsing. My head was banging on the commode. My mom, 98 pounds, puts herself between me and the commode. She took a beating because I was in a seizure. I had a seizure. Took me back to the emergency room and all that kind of stuff, but I was okay. It's just the converse of being the head trauma, the cold ice, and then the hot coffee caused me to have a seizure. But my mom was like Jesus. She's always there protecting me, praying for me, taking a beating for us, It was, there he was again, Jesus, you know what I mean? Saving my life.
I mean, that can't be a normal thing when you're falling. Well, I think I'll breathe all the way out now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so awesome.
It was God giving me that tenth of a second.
Absolutely.
And the little trees, it felt like rain. I relaxed. That's another thing that happened to me. When I breathed out, I totally relaxed.
Yeah.
And it's like a drunk getting in a car wreck.
Right, yeah,
They walk away, you know what I mean? I didn't walk away, but I did walk away eventually. I lived.
The pain here is nothing compared to eternity. Having our minds on the next world or the next place we're going takes away all the worrying. And if we would just, through everything, just be relaxed. Like even when a bill comes up, I just relax. And plus, what's the worst that could ever happen? And
breathe.
Breathe, right?
Breathe
It's
out.
just saying, just breathe, you're gonna be all right. Man, and he came at the time you would, any normal person in the world, at that point where you're about to hit the ground, that would be the most panicked situation you could ever think of.
Yes.
But here you are in Christ, completely relaxed, and it saved your life.
Yes, it's amazing.
So cool.
When I hit the ground, I remember bouncing and then trying to get up. I still had the saw in my hand because when I was falling, the saw was running. Try to get up. That's when I let go of the saw. The saw was there running.
Wow. That could have went any.
Yeah, that just, could have cut my leg off or anything. But God, he comes in at the last second just so you know it's him and there's no doubt that he did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you said that, that kind of reminded me of like, how did I relax?
Yeah.
But he was speaking that small, soft voice to me. Breathe out, relax, relax. And it was like it was in slow motion. And I was falling. And then all of a sudden when I hit the ground, everything sped up.
Yeah.
It was the time capsule. And I'm still here after so many things. Over and over and over. God saving my life. Recently, I had open heart surgery. I had 2 widowmakers. I had triple bypass. I was scared. I was short of breath for a long time, and I waited till I was 65 so I could get the help I needed. And when I went in to get the heart cath, I had a problem going on with my liver that made my blood real thin, which saved my life. When I go to get the heart cath, they didn't even want to do it because my blood was so thin they were scared to stick the big needle in my wrist. But once they did it, they gave me platelets and they checked me, and I was totally blocked. They couldn't even believe why I hadn't. My heart's fine. I never had a heart attack. I never had a stroke. The whole time I was waiting, to try to get the medical attention I needed. Before they wheeled me into the operating room, my doctor, his name was Dr. Kim, and he was a Christian, and his whole staff were Christians, and they all gathered around me and circled. And I remember the scripture that God will put his angels and encamp around you, protecting you. And they prayed in Jesus' name before they took me in for the surgery. And I just remember wielding in this room, and everything was so white. I felt like I was in heaven.
Yeah.
And I was in there 11 days, and I got to go home. The doctor said that I was the only person that he sent home in 30 years without any pain medicine. And I went home trusting in God.
Wow.
I was walking the next day and singing gospel songs in the hospital while I walked around every day. I walked in circles like the Jericho March, and I walked and walked, and I sang and sang and sang. Now it's only been 2 years since the surgery.
Wow.
And I'm doing great. You know, and I'm singing and playing music for God, and I'm living the great life.
Yeah,
you know?
I love the encouragement. Like, we're supposed to encourage one another daily in the faith.
Yes.
And just being around people. I mean, your whole doctor team was Christian.
Yes.
It's like to have people around you who also believe too. I mean, if you were just a Christian in there alone, it would be a different story.
Yes. And my wife, she's such a wonderful person.
Yeah.
I mean, I prayed for my wife that I would have a wife like that, a virtuous woman. I prayed that for years. And, you know, we just found each other, and we found each other in a bar, dirt poor. And I was poor too, all my life growing up. And then us being so compatible, it was true love at first sight. And then when I went back to her house, I seen a picture of Jesus hanging on the wall, and I was so scared. I wanted to leave. I wanted to run because I wasn't serving God like I should right then. I'm like, oh my God, she's a virtuous woman. I need to run.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And we stayed together. We never left each other's side in 30 years. We've always been together. She's always been there for me. And I think that's Jesus. That's God. He's always there. After I got sturdy enough and strong enough to play my guitar again, we were just driving around, and my wife says, we got to find the church. And boom, we went to Brooksville for some reason. We drove right by this Cowboy church.
Yeah.
And she said, that's it. We got to go there.
Yeah.
And we've been there, going, and it's a blessing. And playing at the nursing home. Like when I'm playing, look out there when I'm singing, and I'll see people just bawling, crying, and some people walking out. And then you find out later that they were so blown away by the song that it brought healing, to them.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
That's my goal, the ultimate goal.
God saved us, and we have to share it with other people.
Yes.
That's how we met out doing this free thing called Farmaganza. I mean, just playing a couple gospel songs, and you helped me get my stuff up on the stage, and you told me the thing about cocaine and knock at the door. When I first heard it, I was like, wow, that's really cool. But then it stuck with me later. I was thinking like, oh my gosh, that's a crazy story. And so here we are.
Here we are. I know, I was drawn to you. I didn't even know if you was a Christian or not. It's what we should be doing.
And with his spirit, as we let his spirit lead, and he leads us to things like this, and that's how we have to live. Always remember just letting the spirit lead. And once we get in the way, once we start thinking, oh, I don't want, then nothing awesome happens.
Yeah, I was afraid to make this video, because just like an 8-year-old boy, I was afraid to go to the altar. I was white knuckle on that bench. I was like, oh man, I ain't going. I was afraid that I wouldn't do a good enough job in the interview. And God told me, you got to move past what you're afraid of. Push forward, run the race, finish it.
Endure till the end.
Yeah, and don't be afraid, because I'm with you forever and ever, always, never forsaken us, God puts us together.
Yeah. We both had our foot cut off.
Yeah.
We both play country gospel.
Yeah.
And actually, a few episodes we'd play a song.
Yeah.
In the episode. Would you want to do that?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to do that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, we'll do the song. All right, we'll see you next time on the battlefield, guys.
Somewhere morning, when this life is over, Lord, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore, Lord, and I'll fly away when the shadow of this life are gone, and I'll fly away under from prison bars I've flown. I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, glory, and I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away, fly away. Woo! God bless the strength.